Today we are going to talk about the Tower of Babel. Quick reviews about previous video. Somehow God wiped out the world from the evil people with the flood, but yet He chose one family from Noah's family, and then it happened so. As the flood receded, Noah started his life with his family as the new Adam, with the hope that somehow he will restore the humanity back to the state before Adam and Eve fell in the garden. However, he did not escape from the sin of Adam and Eve. He later on did something that seems to be unrighteous, and then it's kind of a bit weird. He got drunk. He produced wine from the grape trees, and after that he drank until he got drunk. In his drunkenness, he did something unwise and embarrassing, as he was somehow later, according to the story, he was being naked, and then in his nakedness he started cursing his own son. So Noah also, he was not righteous in this kind of story. So therefore, to answer these questions, was Noah is the fulfillment of the Genesis chapter 3 verse 15 prophecy about the offspring of the woman that who will crush the head of the serpent once and for all? Answer is no. Noah too, he was not escaped from the consequences of the sin. He too was the part of the sinful humanity itself. And so the story goes, Noah had three sons, Shem, Japheth, and Ham. And through these three sons of Noah, many ancient nations came from. For example, Egypt, the Hittites, and also the Philistines, and also many of the nations in Mesopotamia. There's something special about Mesopotamia. The name of Mesopotamia is from the ancient Greek word. It means the land between two rivers, the Euphrates rivers and also the Tigris rivers. What's so special about Mesopotamia? What's so special about this piece of land in between these two mighty rivers? Many cities and many civilizations in the ancient time were built in this place. Many of them. One of them, and also the mightiest of all, is the city of Shinar. At this moment, they speak one language, one single language, and then they understand each other's. Compare it in the modern times right now, how many languages that we have? We have a lot. Even here in Indonesia itself, we have at least 700 different languages. The descendants of Noah, they share the sin of Adam and Eve. They have a problem with their heart. They have a tendency to disobey God. They have the tendency to sin against God. So they live further away from the garden, as I said earlier, in Mesopotamia, and then they start to invent a way or a technology how to make a brick, an artificial stone made out of a mud. And then they have an idea that they are about to make a big project. They attempt to build a temple that as high as the tower itself. Of course, the Bible describes it as the tower. Actually, most likely, it's a temple. They built the temple with the bricks. They build the temple, they build the tower as high as possible with the main intention. Their main intention is to be boastful. They can arrogantly proclaim to themselves and also proclaim to God that we are better than God. We can make all of these things my way, our way. We did it my way. Something like that. Maybe you're just too young for that song, but anyway. So they did it. They tried to build the tower to glorify their name instead of glorifying God. How sinful is that? It is. It is sinful. Just like in Genesis chapter 3, they want to be like God, defining what is good and what is evil according to their wisdom, not according to God's wisdom. They want to define everything as if they are God. And then also in this story, there's an irony itself. When God created human, God put human on the garden. The garden act as a temple, which is human should become like the image of God, and then it was being put in the middle of the temple, the garden itself. Human have an important position. Human have an important role in God's original plan of creation. But now, what happened to human by this moment? Human made their own temple, and after that, they try to glorify themselves. And that is the irony. So with that wickedness of humanity at that time, did God going to send another flood? Just like the story of Noah? Wipe out everything clean and then start all over again? No, God did not. God did not send another flood to punish the human, but this is what God did. God confused the language. It says there, before everybody speak the same language so they can understand each other's. But now God confused the language so nobody could understand what is the person next to him try to communicate to him. So what happened then was confusions and also argument and misunderstanding. And because of that one, humans stopped the project. They stopped building the tower. They stopped building the temple. And then they went away to different direction separately. They separate themselves from each others. They will flock together with only the people who speak the same language. And of course, the misunderstanding, creating conflicts, creating argument, and then creating fights. Nations against nations, family against family, tribes against tribes. And then that is the consequences of human arrogancy. That is the consequences of human overconfidence that they proclaim that they can be like God, defining what is good and what is evil, not according to God, but according to themselves. What happened then is war and conflicts. And of course, after that, suffering, death, and tragedy. And that is the consequences of sin and rebellion against God. Broken relationship, suspiciousness against each other's, and then conflicts. And that is the introduction of human history that filled with a lot of like wars, conflict, suffering, and stubbornness. Oh, by the way, in case that you are wondering like why the name is Tower of Babel, because of course, after God confused the language, what happened to humans? They don't understand each other's speech, right? It seems to them they are just like babbling. So that's where you get the word babbling from. Like, you know what babbling is, right? When someone speaks something that you don't understand in a different, probably different language that you never learned before, that person seems to be babbling. So there you go. The word babbling from the Tower of Babel. No, got nothing to do with one of the province in Indonesia. So there you go. Thank you for watching. I see you guys next week. God bless you guys all. Bye-bye.